Well, we're going to start with those technology giants because the bosses of Google, Apple, Facebook and Amazon have been facing questioning from the US Congress over claims they are too big and too powerful and that they use that power then to stifle competition. This is the Antitrust Committee. As for the big four, here they are. You've got Amazon's Jeff Bezos, that's the world's richest man, Facebook's Mark Zuckerberg, Apple CEO Tim Cook, and also Sundar Pichai, who runs Google's parent company, Alphabet. They were all in the firing line, really. Between them, their companies are worth $5 trillion. And the man leading the questioning, the head of the House Antitrust Committee, said the pandemic has given them even more power.
Prior to the COVID-19 pandemic, these corporations already stood out as titans in our economy. In the wake of COVID-19, however, they're likely to emerge stronger and more powerful than ever before. As American families shift more of their work, shopping, and communication online, these giants stand to profit. Locally owned businesses, meanwhile, mom-and-pop stores on Main Street, face an economic crisis unlike any in recent history.
It wasn't a quick turn up and go either. The questioning went on for 5 hours. A lot of it divided along party lines. We had some Democrats worried about the impact on smaller businesses or would even like to see tech giants being broken up. Many Republicans have a concern that conservative voices get marginalized on social media. Now, for his part, Mark Zuckerberg warned politicians about damaging highly successful US corporations.
New companies are created all the time, all over the world. And history shows that if we don't keep innovating, someone will replace every company here today. And that change can often happen faster than you expect. Of the 10 most valuable companies a decade ago, only 3 still make that list today. And if you look at where the top technology companies come from, a decade ago, the vast majority were American. Today, almost half are Chinese.
Yeah, a message there. Don't stifle US enterprise. Well, joining me now is Ed Stringham, economics professor at Trinity College in Hartford, Connecticut, and president of the American Institute for Economic Research. Ed, thanks very much indeed for joining us. I was struck by the chair of the committee, David Eades, talking about we will not bow down to the emperors of the online economy. That's how he described them. And that's a view that a lot of Americans would share, isn't it?
Yeah, there's been this increasing skepticism among Americans of big tech, specifically these social media companies, Google, Facebook, and Twitter. The amount of Americans who distrust those companies has been rising. It's depending on the survey, 70% or 80% of people have a distrust. Apple, I think, has better favorability, Amazon better favorability. But there's this increasing worry. There's one set of worries is oh, they're manipulating us, they're manipulating politics, they're taking our data, selling it without our knowledge. And then a related set of an unrelated set of criticism that came up in the hearings is you're just too big and we can't have big business and we need to be thinking about breaking up big business because of your size.
Yeah, and so that's a very good point. There's how it affects us, you, me, and every one of us, and then how it affects competitors. Mark Zuckerberg had a pretty clear answer. Don't knock the Made in USA brand, in a sense. Do you think they won their argument?
Yeah, I found the whole hearing very tedious because the politicians basically would come up with a series of rapid fire questions and the CEOs would start answering after 5 seconds. In many cases, the politician would interrupt them, go on to the next question. CEOs start answering 5 seconds later, interrupt them, go on to the next question. So it's almost as if the politicians were there to develop a series of sound bites for the next election campaign. There was very little dialogue between the two different parties. It also was extremely political. So based on the party of the questioner, there was one type of question. Oh, you're big, you're harming business, you're harming consumers. And on the other side, it was more discussion of is there political bias and censorship among these platforms. So I think the politicians came in with their decided dispositions, and there was very little changing of minds today.
Right. Our technology correspondent described it in soccer terms as a 0-0 result, and that probably suits the tech giants best.
Oh, certainly. Yeah, I thought when they did get to speak, I thought they actually did a good job, especially I thought Bezos, this was his first congressional testimony. I thought he was the most natural and just answering honestly what it was on his mind. And if you look at the end of the day, the stock prices overall in the stock market are up, say, 1%, and the stock prices of these companies up a couple percentage points. So even though the politicians at the end of the hearing said, we now conclude that we need to break up big tech, at least in terms of their stock market prices, that did not get reflected today.
I get a bit of skepticism about Congress as well coming out of you, Ed. Thank you very much indeed for joining us, though. Thanks, Ed Stringham.
Thanks so much.